But over in the West, let's start with the Timberwolves and the Lakers, the 3-6 matchup, the Lakers being the 3 seed, Timberwolves being the 6 seed. Luka Doncic last year obviously hit that huge game-winning shot over Rudy Gobert. And I know Rudy didn't want to face him in the playoffs again this year, but the Timberwolves are a different look. They're a different
Mhm.
look now this year. They've made some changes to their roster. They've swapped Cat for Julius Randle. DiVincenzo came in as well. They're more experienced for some of their younger guys. And then the Lakers, obviously the mid-season trade for Luka Doncic. They're a new look team with a new coach this season as well. I think the Lakers will win this series, but I don't think it'll be as easy as everyone thinks. What do you guys think about that?
Another intriguing matchup. Then you talk about contrasting rosters and styles and size. This Lakers team, and both teams are playing well heading into the tournament. As so that you give each team a check for that in terms of how they're playing. The Lakers, you're going to see, are going to be playing with a smaller group though. So what's going to win out? The size of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Are the Lakers going to be able to play Rudy Gobert off the floor? Play LeBron some at the five. It'll be fascinating to watch that versus Minnesota being able to go big at times. They started he and Randall, but you can also go with Nas and
Mhm.
Gobert, and so from a size perspective, that you favor this Timberwolves team
Yep.
with that.
And they've got the versatility to play five out with Nas Reed at the five.
No question about it. And you can play with him at the five and Randall at the four. Uh, this is a tough team, Minnesota team. I've been high on this group, even though they've been up and down throughout the year. I like this team. But the Lakers have been great at home this year too. And you've got, a generational player in LeBron James there who has been, a part of a multitude of series, as we know, and had a lot of playoff experience. So nobody's going to be any more experienced on the court and with more basketball knowledge and IQ in this series than LeBron. And then Luka beat this team when he was part of the Mavericks last year. This is a tough one for me. It's not as if it's a foregone conclusion,
Hmm.
but I'll favor the Lakers slightly. I'm gonna favor the Lakers slightly in this series, just because I believe over the past couple months since the Luka trade, they've been just a little more consistent. Even though this Minnesota team is playing better, I like the consistency of the Lakers, even though I'm nervous about their lack of size, and that could really show up in this series. So I'm looking for a great one. Obviously, I'm pulling for Minnesota to play great though in this series because I'd like to. This to me has the capability of going 6 7 games as a series to me.
Yeah, they split the season series. Obviously, a lot of that was
Hmm.
before the trade. The game
Hmm.
after the trade, they only played once, and the Lakers won that. It 111 to 102. And Luka Doncic, only 21 points for him. That was a quiet night. But Austin Reeves gave him 23. He's been massively improved this season, and LeBron gave him 33. BJ, you're out there on the West Coast. All expectations are that the Lakers, now with Luka Doncic, make it to at least the conference finals, if not the NBA finals, if not win the whole thing. But how are you looking at this matchup? Because the intriguing part for me is Julius Randle matching up with LeBron James. Because Julius Randle, one of the few players who can maybe at this stage of LeBron's career match that strength and physicality that LeBron brings, that gives him an advantage playing that four spot over a few guys. But as an athlete, I think Julius can match up with that. But how are you looking at this matchup?
Well, certainly, I think it's going to be a very entertaining series, and here's why I say that. I mean, you have the big names here in LA. You have LeBron James. You have Luka Doncic, and then on the other side, we have Anthony Edwards. So, that
Hmm.
check for Hollywood and all of the stars will be there. I'm going to pick the Minnesota Timberwolves, and here's why I'm going to pick them. The Lakers have kind of, after the trade, they've kind of, they, in some regards, they haven't really established the one thing that I'm really interested in watching them. What's going to happen down the stretch? Who are they actually just going to go to and put that ball in his hand? Are they going to put it in LeBron's hands? Are they going to put it in Luka's hands?
Or Austin Reeves. Because they've gone to
Okay.
him down the stretch.
I'm
But
not.
you laugh.
I'm.
But down the stretch of a bunch of these games, they have given him the ball. I'm just saying what I've seen.
We'll see. Let's not forget. This is Coach Reddick's first playoff series as a head
Yep.
coach.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of unanswered questions here with this group. And LeBron, he had the groin injury. Luka's had some injuries here, and down the stretch, and they've put together somehow with all of that going on. They finished third, so give them credit. But this Minnesota team hasn't played well, and they've kind of the sixth seed probably is. They feel a little, well, we probably were better than the sixth seed, especially coming off of last year. At some point here, you think they're probably gonna play well, at least show up, And I think this has an opportunity in the playoffs, okay, to do that. Julius Randle, he's one of my favorite players because he's a tough kid. Anthony Edwards and company, I think they have an opportunity now to say, hey, we got through the regular season, we're here now, and let's play. So I think Minnesota in their depth, Naz Reid and DiVincenzo and all of these guys, if they're going to find a way to make a little run, well, here we are. And I think they have an opportunity to do it. I think they have the depth. I think they can play big. They can play small. They can play on the perimeter. They can. I think this team is probably built better for the playoffs than the regular season because you need that lead guard to play downhill. They really don't have a lead guard to do that. But in the playoffs, I think they can match up, for instance, with the Austin Reeves. They have enough bodies to throw at him. Not that you're going to stop him, but I think you can play with him. I think the advantage that LeBron has with his physical strength, he's always going to have an advantage, but Julius Randle is strong enough and probably is one of the few players that will entertain the physicality of that matchup. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I like this. I like it for Minnesota. And, it would be good to see them, not at the Lakers' expense, but it'd be good to see them finally play to their potential. Because I don't think they've really played to their potential this year. And some teams, as Scott knows, are better equipped to play in the playoffs. And I think this team, they had championship aspirations, okay? And they've made a trade. They haven't played to it for whatever the reason may be. But here's an opportunity for them to do it. And I think they have a good chance here in LA, kind of get settled, check out the palm trees a little bit, get out of the
palm trees.
Yeah, check out the palm trees a little bit.
I love looking at the palm trees when I'm in LA.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things you love looking at when you're out here. But I want to pick Minnesota, but I think it's going to be a good one. You can't count Luka out. But I'm really interested to see what's going to happen at crunch time for this team. Who are they going to go to? How they're going to play
for the Lakers.
For the Lakers, yes.
It's
I want
Luka's
to
team
really
now.
see.
It's
I really want to
Luka's team
see.
now. Okay.
And I just want to see how they all, they live in that.
I think the balls, personally, will end up in Luka's hands.
Yeah.
If it's down to the final shot, it won't be Austin Reeves, even though Mo, like you mentioned, that he's had some situations where he's scored the basket. But to me, that's Luka's younger. That's all he really knows. We know LeBron has been that guy for a number of years, but from what I've seen thus far, again, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. He's been more willing of the two to get off of it, and I think the ball's going to end up in Luka's hands. But to BJ's point, we got to see it in real time. But that's my
the advantage of having Luka though is he's very difficult for this Timberwolves team to guard. Like you said, Julius can match the physicality of LeBron. I'm not saying that he can shut him down, but he can match the physicality. Whereas Luka is kind of too big and strong for guys like McDaniels and Edwards, as good as they are defensively. He kind of has the advantage in that. And this is what I like talking about crunch time is the Lakers have 2, maybe 3 options that they can go to down the stretch that can self-create and get themselves a shot when they need one. The Timberwolves, when you look at their best five, it's really only Anthony Edwards, maybe Julius Randle that can do that.